Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Spectre Approved podcast, a podcast where two gamers play a game where we fight a fox, an elephant, a toad, and all of the other friends that Snow White has in the forest in the Chinese martial arts game Jade Empire. I'm your host, Adam Forrester, and I'm joined once again by Fenris.
That's me. So, I'm just going to preface this. I didn't get a chance to play this game. Because my PC is too strong. And I tried multiple different ways. I tried it on GOG. I tried it on Steam. This is when I subscribed to Game Pass, and I tried to play it through Game Pass, and nothing worked. I could not find a fix. But I did watch a video to take notes on the story, and then promptly forgot all of it.
Yep. Fantastic. Love it. The intro is just like ingrained in my brain now, so I couldn't change it to one gamer. Without some thought, and then I would have lost my joke. But that's okay. So, before I get into development history then, about what Jade Empire actually is, can you run us through, like, the error that you got? Because you sent it to me a screenshot.
It was a resolution error. Yep. Yeah, and even though like I changed all of my resolution settings on all of my monitors to 1920 28 or 1920 whatever 2K is or 1920 whatever it is, 1920 by 1080. That is the lowest I was willing to go. Because I know that you were able to run this, and that is what you run your computer on. So I figured that would be enough, but it was not. Even though I changed all the resolutions to all of my monitors, I still couldn't get it to run on anything.
Yeah. So, about that, I did get it running. But after I got past a certain point, like basically to the end of the prologue, I started having my own technical problems. So I just broke out the Series X and played the Game Pass version, and it ended up working fine on console. So that is how I ended up beating the game.
Well, it was originally an Xbox game, so that makes sense. You got it to work on an Xbox.
Yeah, original Xbox. Because Jade Empire is a third-person action RPG produced and published by Microsoft for the Xbox in April 12, 2005. There was a PC special edition released in 2007, and later the game came to Mac, mobile, and iOS, which would be interesting to see how that would play.
Yeah.
So BioWare developed Jade Empire as its first major original IP after the success of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Prior to this, BioWare had built its reputation on licensed or established universes such as Baldur's Gate and Neverwinter Nights, both owned by D&D, which I presume was still owned by Wizards of the Coast back then.
I believe so, yeah.
The studio wanted to move away from Western fantasy and science fiction settings, create a world inspired by Chinese mythology, martial arts, cinema, and, I'm going to butcher this, but Wuxi storytelling traditions. The staff members were Greg Zeshuk, who was executive producer and studio leadership, Ray Muzaka, executive producer and studio leadership. James Olin, who was lead designer. Kevin Martins was design contributor. Jack Wall did music composition, and Derek Watts did the art direction. The game represented a significant shift for BioWare because it moved away from turn-based or pause and command RPG systems toward a more action-focused martial arts style of combat. BioWare also experimented with a morality system that differed from the conventional good versus evil designs. Instead of a simple light versus dark system, Jade Empire used open palm and closed fist philosophies, attempting to present different worldviews rather than pure morality. GameSpot is the article where I got that. I don't really agree that the morality system was that different from Knights of the Old Republic, but we will get to that when I start talking about that. Years later, Greg Zeshuk stated that BioWare regretted releasing the title at the end of the original Xbox generation, believing it could have become a larger franchise if it had launched on the Xbox 360 instead, and might have been able to run on modern PCs better.
Probably.
Yeah. Like I said before, PC Special Edition came out in 2007, which added additional martial arts styles, new enemies, new difficulty options, improved graphics, features, and content additions. Critically, Jade Empire performed very well and was considered one of the highest rated Xbox RPGs of its time. Xbox didn't have too many good RPGs, just personally, as someone who played a lot of games in that contemporary era. However, reviewers scored it very well. GameSpot gave it 8.4 out of 10. IGN gave it a 9.9 out of 10. Xbox Magazine, obviously noting some bias there, 9.5 out of 10. And Metacritic averages it about between 89 to 90 out of 100. Some things that were praised in reviews included the martial arts combat system, storytelling and companion characters, the Chinese mythology-inspired world, and the voice acting and presentation. There were some criticisms. The simplified RPG mechanics, because they moved to an action as opposed to a turn-based. Combat becoming repetitive later in the game. I very much agree with that. And the shorter overall length compared with games like Knights of the Old Republic. Over time, the game developed a reputation as a cult classic, with many players considering it one of BioWare's most overlooked works. Modern community discussions often describe it as a franchise that ended too early. It did receive numerous nominations and awards during the 2005-2006 period, including won recognition for character performance categories, received multiple Xbox Game of the Year awards from gaming outlets, and frequently appears on Best Original Xbox Games. So we know a little bit about the sales performance at the time. This was before companies really started, I guess, withholding information, and before the rise of big digital sales, which always muddy those waters. Jade Empire wasn't a massive commercial success, which is probably the main reason why we didn't get a sequel. It reached approximately 500,000 units sold by July 2005, and passed roughly 385,000 North American copies by May 2006, and UK and Australasia were estimated for 45,000 of there, so it wasn't big over here. The game's release timing is often cited as the major issue impacting this. It launched only months before the Xbox 360 arrived, and we knew that the Xbox 360 was coming at this time, so a lot of people were preparing for that and weren't really keen on late Xbox games. Despite modest sales, Jade Empire remains an influential title in BioWare's history, because it served as an experimental bridge between the studio's earlier RPG design and more action-orientated direction later seen in Mass Effect and Dragon Age Origins.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like it was a fantastic game and accrued not necessarily a cult following, but it's one of those things that people just kind of slept on. Didn't and as you said, they just everyone was getting ready for the 360 and didn't really feel the need to buy an OG Xbox game.
Yeah. What did your gaming kind of habits look like in 2005? Around the time of contemporary release?
In 2005, I was a freshman or a sophomore in high school. I think I was still on my PS1 then, yeah, because I didn't get a 360 until probably close to graduating high school. So yeah, so like 2005, probably through junior year of high school, like I was still playing my PS1 classic games. Cause
Okay, so you never owned a original Xbox?
no, I wanted one, because my sister had one, and every time I went over there, I would always be playing the ever loving shit out of Fable.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. I did play this at the time, and I didn't really remember it until I started doing research for the show. Because I owned an Xbox around this time. However, I actually played over at a friend's. I was in grade 11 in high school at this time, which is like 1 year before graduating, so I don't know where that places me for American listeners. I guess a senior in high school.
Oh, we usually have 12 grades.
Yep.
And then 8 through 12 is freshman, sophomore, junior, senior.
Yeah, so I was grade 11.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that would be senior. 16.
Junior.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, whilst I owned an original Xbox, I played this over at a friend's. He had the like OG Big Bertha Xbox with like the massive controllers and everything. And we rented this from Blockbuster for those who are a bit younger. We used to be able to rent video games. And we played the ever-loving shit out of this at the time. I think we also rented SmackDown vs. Raw 2004, 2003.
Yeah.
And I got, that memory just came back because I'm old and I get dementia stuff. That memory came back as I was reading for the show, because even while I played through this, I had no memory of playing it. And yeah, really enjoyed it at the time. But my initial thoughts going into this game were, oh, cool. This will be a action-orientated Knights of the Old Republic. That's what I was expecting, knowing that it was BioWare. So that was my first impression going in. For yourself, Fenris, did you have any pre-impressions, I guess?
No. Because generally for games for the podcast, I try not to look into them too much, and I try to go in as blind as I can. So, I didn't know anything about the story. I didn't know what kind of gameplay it was going to be. I just knew it was Chinese martial arts, and that was pretty much it.
Okay. So, well, gameplay then is very much like I said in the intro. You're third person. You get to choose a character from one of three from the original, because I didn't play the special edition. From this, and you go around, you use martial arts. You are able to switch styles mid-battle, which is pretty cool, and allows combo experimentation. And because it's Chinese coded, you use chi, health, and focus.
Yeah.
So chi is like your magic. You can use it defensively or offensively to heal which is fantastic. Actually loved the healing mechanic in this game. Focus slows time for you and improves your combat precision, and health is your health bar. Determines survivability. You don't fight alone. Like Knights of the Old Republic, which is a comparison I'm going to be making a lot in this, you have a companion system, followers who accompany yourself and provide support abilities or combat assistance, and you have dialogue choices, so conversations affect morality, alignment, and character reactions, and you also have the ability to receive experience and training and upgrade because it's an RPG. I did not get on with the combat. I came in so hopeful of it being a good action RPG, but I'm just too spoilt with modern conveniences, and this is a port of an Xbox game. And what do we know about PS2/Xbox combat-based games that we have played?
They are dated.
Don't hold up. Yeah. Spoilers for Drakengard 2. Yeah. I just was not able to get the hang of combat, and I found myself healing a lot. It felt jank as again, the input method for the original Xbox controllers was probably like close to a second more delayed to what we would see in like modern combat games. So you would press a button and it would take a second to actually do the move. A second isn't that long in the scheme of things by far, but when you play a lot of modern combat action games like I do, you notice the difference. I more came undone with the blocking or the dodging, because my timing was really off in that, and I ended up pumping a lot of my points into health just so I could live through combat encounters, because my damage output was fine, but I was so bad at blocking and dodging that I ended up dying a lot. And there's no autosave in this. It's all manual save. Save at any time, which is good. But I was basically doing a manual save before I went into every combat encounter, which doesn't lead to an overall positive gaming experience. I didn't experience any bugs in the Xbox version. I did get some crashing when I got to the second main level on PC. However, that happened twice, and then I just went over to the Xbox, and that resolved it. For a shorter RPG, like 14 hours to complete, which is good for an RPG range, I think. The game does respect your time in that sense, to the point that if people are clamoring for it to be longer, that also says something as well, even if it wasn't my personal experience. However, I will give it the benefit of the doubt. Some of the quests felt a little bit like I was just walking around too much, and I guess we'll get into it when I talk about the actual environment of cities and stuff. Cities felt quite sparse. There wasn't many side quests, if any, from memory. And you could talk to every individual NPC and they had dialogue, but I feel like that was more padding or filler because they didn't present anything worthwhile. Like it didn't lead you to information that helped you complete a quest like it did way back in the 80s with your Final Fantasies and Dragon Quest, where you had to go find an NPC to find out what to do next. They were just background filler. Like I said before, the save anywhere system was very valuable, although the no autosave kind of caught me off guard a couple of times, and I had to backtrack quite a bit of progress. So I just started saving in every combat encounter. And there was subtitles because you use your decision tree to make choices from there. Lots of writing, lots of dialogue on the screen. So for music, sound, and visuals, I'm actually going to throw it over to yourself, Fenris, on what you thought on the video that you watched. Like, from what you saw and what you heard, was there anything stand out to you? Did you find it because you said to me before we started, like, I actually kind of wish this would work because it looked like an awesome game.
Yeah. I mean, from what I saw of the video, like, the combat, like you said, did look pretty sluggish, but the music, I feel like it hit the right notes. I feel like, it was there and it was present. I can't say whether or not I would have noticed it while playing the game because I would have been focusing on playing the game, but like it was something that I definitely picked up on the video.
Yep.
And then, I mean, the graphics were, they weren't very good, but it's an OG Xbox game, so you can't really expect too much.
Yep.
And then, go ahead.
I was going to say the special edition, in inverted commas, only came out 2 years after initial release. So we're looking at that lovely blocky polygon era, even still for the PC release.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah. One thing that I don't remember from the video is the voice acting. Was there any voice acting? Is that
Yes.
yeah? Okay, because I know you said that you made choices, but oh yeah, no, there was voice acting. I'm remembering that now.
Yep. Actually, a really stacked cast
yeah.
of voice actors. So you had silent protagonist, because you could choose between multiple ones. Nathan Fillion played Gow the Lesser.
Oh wow.
You had John Cleese as Sir Roderick Ponce von Fontlebottom, who was like one of your merchant characters. Robin Atkin Downes, who played Sagacious Zoo. Kim My Guest, who's Dawnstar, who's like your main female companion. Barry Dennen, who's Master Lee, who is your mentor. Victor Brandt as Black Whirlwind, just one of the main antagonists. Cam Clark as Sky. Sherman Howard as Death's Hand. Roger L. Jackson as Lord Yun. And Masasa as Silk Fox. Apparently this is one of Nathan Fillion's earliest major video game roles.
Yeah.
I don't really remember him being in anything else prior.
I don't either.
In terms of audio, though, just moving back to music and audio design, every line of dialogue in the game is voiced, which was ambitious for an RPG of the time. BioWare reportedly recorded over 320,000 words of dialogue.
That's crazy.
Soundtrack composed by Jack Wall, known for his later work on Mass Effect.
Mm-hmm.
His approach to Jade Empire's music was to create an East meets West orchestral sound rather than simply imitate traditional Chinese music. because we've got orchestration and orchestra stuff, Chinese percussion, bamboo flutes, and the music shifted fluidly between temple melodies, mystical spiritual themes, and battle composition. They did have a Chinese music consultant, Jiming Han, who helped maintain authenticity and brought in native musicians to perform sections of the soundtrack, which I think is always really good when they draw from the subject matter experts. Like, I know, like, yeah, just hearing the authenticity throughout is always great.
Yeah, and there's something that hits about like that region's music, whether it's I forget what it's called, but it's their version of like a 4-string guitar that they play with like a blade or something it looks like an axe head. Like it's just the sounds that they have for their music is so what's the word I'm looking for? Not noticeable, but like you can definitely tell that it is an instrument of Asian design, because they've got so many different things, like that guitar I was talking about.
I don't think it's a mandolin, but a mandolin is always Chinese instrument that I've really appreciated.
Yeah, a ruan, I think it's called. And
Okay,
then,
yep.
like I just looked up the Chinese musical instruments, and the harp on a table thing that you see, most notably, you'd probably see it in Kung Fu Hustle, with the chick that played it, and she shot like the invisible blades across to kill people. That's called a guzheng. And then yeah, the ruan is the 3 or 4 stringed instrument that I was thinking of, and then there's something called an erhu, which is like it looks like a single string violin, and that's probably where a lot of the violin sound in their music comes from. And then yeah, they have that woodwind instrument called a DZ, DIZI, that weird name. But yeah, like they've got some, like much like the, I don't want to say the Middle East, but Indian, because the Indians also have a bunch of really unique instruments as well.
Yep. I also think it was a strength that they didn't release a Chinese dub.
Probably because I mean back then, like we've seen it before, especially in like, well, I've seen it before, like in Legend of Dragoon, where the translation team isn't as strong as it is now, or as
Yeah.
it would be
Oh,
now.
yeah.
Yeah, so
100% being Western developed, they just would have butchered a translation. But I
absolutely.
think also and this kind of jumps into world building as well, because whilst it's Chinese influenced, it's not legitimately named as China. It's in a fantasy world with similarities to the Chinese Empire at the time.
Yeah, but it's just and this is, I feel like this is a game that could not be released nowadays, because I feel like because it is a Western made game about an Eastern region, there would be so many people that would have issues with it. Especially if they were to release a dub for it. There would be
Yeah,
someone, there would be some faction of people that would just complain about it.
I get that, because even in some of the dialogue between characters as you move through the world, um, some of the commentary is not, yeah, wouldn't hold up. Like, I know we were starting to become more progressive back in 2005, 2006, but, like, yeah, some of the shit that is said just wouldn't hold up today.
Yeah.
Um, but, and look, like, I love the overall premise, but the spoiler-free premise is I wasn't a fan at all. So the game takes place in a fictional empire inspired by ancient China. You play as the Spirit Monk, a student trained in martial arts by the wise Master Li in the secluded village of Two Rivers. Early in the story, the village is attacked by mysterious invaders using dark spiritual powers, and Master Li is kidnapped. The protagonist leaves home to rescue him, only to uncover political conspiracies and machinations, supernatural threats, and hidden truths about the Jade Empire itself. Like, you know, that's pretty cliched. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. It does feel pretty cliched.
Yep.
For the spoiler-free premise. So.
Yeah. And I think it definitely improved as we went along, which is different to a lot of games nowadays. Like, modern gaming very much leads in the front foot. Like, they definitely front load their story with the good stuff early on, and then like middle pacing gets a bit funky, and then hopefully if they're a good game it evens out the end.
Yeah.
But this one was the complete opposite, where the front loaded story, like, I was bored in the first 2 hours of this game. I was just like, can we please get to the good stuff? But we definitely got there. I feel. I guess I want to talk. Oh, sorry. Did you have something?
Oh no. I was just gonna lead us on, but you had something you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I want to talk about the morality system, because I don't agree at all that it's very different to BioWare and Mass Effect stuff. Like, they call it open palm and closed fist, which, like, come on, that's classic Chinese reiteration for Paragon and Renegade, and Light and Dark Side. I don't feel like it was any different to the morality systems that BioWare had used previously. And I would actually go so far as to criticize it to a point. Because it's very much the same thing we'd seen in Knights of the Old Republic. Oh, you go to a village that is suffering a drought. Okay, you can either do the open palm and fix the dam, or do the closed fist action, which is to remove the crucial elements that the dam needs to function for your own personal power and gain.
Yeah. See. So
classic Light and Dark.
Are you saying that once again we have another binary system?
No, because there's a hidden third path that isn't specifically intuited by the game.
What?
Because there's actually 3 endings to this.
Yeah.
Basically, without going too much into spoilers, they're quite, like, some are hit and miss. So I'll use the dam example. So in the dam example, you just leave it as it is, and you don't help the village. You don't take the power for yourself. You just leave them as they are. Take from that what you will, but there are better examples later on down the track.
Yeah, so it's basically you have a good path, a neutral path, and an evil path.
I wouldn't even call it neutral, because there's, like, one specific example later on, which I liken to the elves and werewolves in Dragon Age. potential spoilers for that, even though we've already done an Origins episode. So go listen to our Origins episode if you want to find out what I'm talking about more. Where you can say, "Oh no, I'm not gonna help either of your factions and help myself." And the actions that spill from that seem evil, but in the end you end up benefiting yourself. So I guess it ends up being neutral because you either do nothing or ruin two factions' lives, I guess. Because the ending that is linked to that leads to some not great stuff, but is apparently the true ending. So I guess that's, yeah, there's no real good ending for this game, which I do appreciate, and that's all I'll say on that.
Yeah, that's fair.
I did feel there was some emotional impact. I played the open palm because I very much struggle in BioWare games to be a bad guy, except Baldur's Gate. That's the one exception that I found. Baldur's Gate is very easy to be a bad guy, but like in KOTOR, Mass Effect, Dragon Age, I find it hard to be an asshole. And I actually liked the majority of the characters in this, so I felt bad about stuffing them over. Because they were well portrayed. They made me feel emotional about the story. I wanted to help the villagers get their water back so they could live. Because I guess the different places that you go throughout the story. Like you obviously go to the main empire, because everything is Star Wars. To I guess have a showdown with a boss. There, like it felt like a lived-in city. It felt like it was how China was run politically during that time. It felt corrupt and all that with the political landscape. So I guess, yeah, every environment that you go to past the initial island felt very much lived in.
Yeah.
So I give it, it's a big thumbs up for the world itself. Replay value, there's obviously 3 endings you can take. There are different, albeit arbitrary, choices that you can make. So there's obviously replay value in that. You can play the game through 3 times to reach each of those endings. Which, thank God, this was an original Xbox and didn't have achievements. Because there is nothing more that pisses me off than needing to do a complete playthrough
multiple,
to see an ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't you replay this more times? Because you've got 3, possibly 4 different characters that you can pick, and don't they each have their own different kind of like combat mechanics?
Yeah.
So I mean, like technically you could play this 7 times, yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
There's also different romance options that you can take as well, and different character like interactions. So yeah, there's big replayability. I only played through one character he's on the front cover, so I presume he's like the canon character. But yeah, you could definitely replay it more. The side, like I said, the side questing, if it was there, was minimal. And I think there was enough content. Like, I was pretty happy by the time I got to the end of the game that, like, it was done. Like, I didn't need more. The story felt wrapped up. And I was happy with how it ended.
Good. As you said, there really is no good ending, but it did look like it was wrapped up in a pretty bow, so.
Yeah. I understand the clamoring for a sequel, but I don't really know where they would go with it. And as with any sequel of branching more than one protagonist, it's like you just have to get more and more complex with the storytelling, the world building, and the coding from there, which just puts so much more pressure on the writers to keep everything consistent between games. And as we probably see with like when we get to Dragon Age Inquisition, a game that I absolutely love, but we then needed to have almost a complete reset when we got to Valgard,
Yeah.
because of how things spun out by the time we got to Inquisition. Yeah. So it's just so much pressure for a sequel, and I don't think a direct sequel would have been the way to go if they wanted to continue this franchise.
Well, and honestly, I don't think with the way that this game sold that the shareholders, were too keen on making a sequel.
I dare say even, and like we haven't covered KOTOR 1 yet, but the fact that KOTOR 2 changed development team to even get off the ground, like they moved away from BioWare for KOTOR 2. So I haven't researched the specifics, but like potentially sales were also there as well, like that they had to move away from BioWare to do that. I guess we'll find out when we get there.
Yeah.
Although we'll most likely be playing the remake.
Hopefully.
Which they need to hurry up and drop.
Yeah.
But I guess, like, personal takeaways, there were moments there that definitely stick with me. Story-wise, environmental-wise. Definitely. Fantastic. The frustrations aren't really justifiable for me because they come from like a non-contemporary viewpoint, which I guess is part of the point of why we go back and cover these older games.
Yeah.
But the combat is something that would stop me from doing a full second playthrough. Story would, but combat means that I'm not going to. And like I said at the beginning of the podcast, it's just action-based KOTOR in a different setting.
With less dice rolls, I'd imagine.
None.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that was a quick episode. As far as ratings go, like, I can't rate this because I didn't have a chance to play it. So, what are you going to give it?
I've been on the fence since the episode started. Not being able to play this on a PC really, really drags it down. Like we talked about how exclusivity is becoming a real bugbear for both of us in the Patreon section.
Yeah.
And if the only way that you can play this is through an Xbox family of consoles, it makes it tough for me. Albeit that you can play it on all three of the Xbox family consoles at the moment. Original Xbox 360. Four. I forgot about the Xbox One and Xbox Series. It's backward compatible all the way back there. And the way that they have ported that backwards compatibility makes it a suitable game to be able to play on a modern console. It's gonna scrape over for the fun for me. Yeah, the story definitely carries it, and if you can move past that action gameplay and probably get the hang of it, it'll definitely give you 14 hours of fun. because the healing, I think, is enough to combat the combat flaws. If you pump enough stats into health and mana, you can get out without a combat experiencing being detrimental to the game itself. So I am going to give it a fun, but a strong recommendation to not do what Fenris did and get 3 copies of the game trying to get one on PC. Go straight to the Xbox. Yeah, that's my final rating.
Nice.
Fun with a lot of caveats.
A lot of caveats.
So thank you very much for listening. I did a lot of talking, but that's all right. If you like my accent, feedback on my accent has been surprisingly positive. My wife says I've got a very twangy Australian accent, but that's okay. There was no listener correspondence as well, which was very strange because this game was so beloved by the community. It got 12 likes on Infinite Backlog, but no one made a comment.
It's probably not.
Which was very interesting.
That tells me that it is a game that is liked, but not enough to really comment on. Which I'm sure.
Or maybe people have real positive viewpoints contemporaneously, playing it at the time. But maybe they haven't gone back to it recently, and they don't want to spoil how it's viewed.
Could be.
Yeah. But yeah, people obviously like it because they like the post. However, if you would like to support us in a more financially based way, which would be very much appreciated, head on over to patreon.com/Spectre approved, where for as little as $3.50 US, $5 Australian per month, you get early access to the episodes, the extra banter, and you get to listen to me have the wonderful journey of going through the Megami Tensei series game by game by game. I have finished Megami Tensei 1 and 2. Oh, man, I did it. It was fucking rough. But you guys will be able to hear about that there. I'm recording that tonight, and it should go up tomorrow morning. I think we're sitting at about 4 weeks early as well with Patreon episodes. So you guys get it 4 weeks earlier than everyone else.
Yep.
If you would like to join the Discord, in which the Steam Machine Video Game Network, I believe we're called now, sits, it's bit.ly/TSMP Discord, all caps.
Speaking of Discord, if you like the music that is at the beginning and ending of each of our episodes, you can go to Bandcamp and give... I've flipped this up completely from my usual. Now the Nightmare at bandcamp.com. He is our benevolent leader over at Discord, and he makes a whole lot of music. You can buy an album over at Bandcamp, and if you don't want to do that, you can give some more of his stuff a listen over on YouTube, where he is Dalton Suter. And then it hasn't been finished yet, but I have commissioned an artist to replace the splash art for our podcast. And if you want to go check out what that could potentially look like, you can go find his stuff on TikTok and Instagram under the name Lazarus Art. Lazarus as in risen from the pits. I have been Fenris Wolf Spain. You can find me everywhere by that name on Discord, Steam, Epic EA, GOG, Final Fantasy XIV on Gilgamesh. I think I'm Fen Wolf on Game Pass or whatever that one's called. I don't really remember. I don't really use it that much yet, but hopefully soon.
I will have to friend you because I still haven't done that.
Yeah, I'm Fenwolf on whatever this is called.
Cool beans. I run under Spectre approved for most of our socials, X, Blue Sky, Instagram, and Spectre _ approved on Infinite Backlog, which is where you can see what the upcoming games for the show are and leave correspondence for them. We also have an affiliate link with Keysite K4G. They normally do a lot of great deals on the games that we play and many more. I've forgotten the exact affiliate link, so it'll just be attached in the show notes. And before we dive into the spoilers, we need to talk about our next game that we're playing for the podcast, which is another... They're retro. I can't believe this is classed as retro. Another retro game. Drakengard 2 for the PS2. Back-to-back action games.
Yep.
The wheel was not kind to us.
Well, I mean, Drakengard 2 was, in some ways, a little bit better than the first one.
Yeah. A lot of ways. I think I came out with a much more positive mindset to it than you did. But you'll hear about that next time we record.
Yep. So stay tuned.
Do we have a piece of music picked for...
I did not get a chance to listen to the soundtrack to this game.
Okay. That's alright. I do have one. The end credits.
Okay.
Track. Yeah, which I don't have the name for it, unfortunately, but I can probably insert that there in post. So enjoy that, and we will see you on the other side of the spoiler wall. Hello and welcome back to Jade Empire Spoiler Wall. On the other side of that great music track there. So this time I'll be thrown over to Fenris to talk through the main beats of the story, and I'll jump in with what I did in terms of when we get to decision making and character
All
stuff.
right. So the story takes place in the Jade Empire, which is a fantasy martial arts empire inspired by Chinese mythology and philosophy. The empire is divided into 4 major regions, which are the Golden Delta of agriculture, the Seat of Heaven, which is the imperial capital, the Prosperous East, which is for trade and port cities, and the Western Hills / Dirge, which is the home of the spirit monks. The 2 main military forces exists, which are the Imperial Army and the Lotus Assassins. A little bit of history. Before the Empire, the land was made up of constantly warring kingdoms. Sagacious Tien became the first emperor by conquering and unifying them through military strength and philosophy, and he also created the Jade Empire and established a common culture. But a barbarian warlord named Zheng Sai united the Horse Lords and nearly destroyed the young empire, and the spirit monks of Dirge finally intervened, and together the monks and the empire defeated Zheng Sai in a legendary battle. So during Emperor Sun Hai's reign, the empire suffers a catastrophic drought, and desperate to save the empire, Sun Hai attacks the Temple of Dirge. He destroys the spirit monks and captures the water dragon. Sun Hai cuts open the water dragon to use her magical power to end the drought, and it works, but it breaks the cycle of death and rebirth. So souls can no longer properly pass on because the water dragon guided the dead. So with the water dragon's power, Sun Hai slowly turns into a godlike being, and the power also physically destroys and corrupts him over time. Sun Hai's brother fears that he's becoming a tyrant later, and then Sun Qin attempts to assassinate Sun Hai by stabbing him in the back. It fails because Sun Hai has become way too powerful. So as punishment, Sun Hai binds Sun Qin's soul into armor, creating the enslaved warrior Death's Hand, and then Sun Li escapes. Sun Li secretly raises the last surviving spirit monk child as his student, and he pretends to be a benevolent master while grooming them for his own plans. Sun Hai orders the murder of Sun Li's family, and Sun Li's wife dies. His infant daughter is secretly saved and raised under the name Dawn Star. And then here's where we get to the game's main plot. So 20 years later after those events, the Lotus Assassins attack the village of 2 Rivers. They are searching for Sun Li, the last spirit monk, and the dragon amulet, which is a tool tied to the water dragon's power. Sun Hai has become increasingly insane and authoritarian. He knowingly allows the world's spiritual imbalance to continue, and he plans to build an army of spirit-powered golems using murdered slaves. His mortal body eventually fails, and the water dragon's energy sustains him as a spirit-like immortal being. The last spirit monk eventually reaches the Imperial Palace, and they defeat Sun Hai in single combat and overthrow him. And after Sun Hai dies, Sun Li reveals everything. The player was always a pawn in his plan to seize the throne and the water dragon's power. And then Sun Li exploits a weakness intentionally built into the spirit monk's training. He kills the protagonist and takes the dragon amulet. I feel like this twist was pretty good, but as I mentioned off air, like after it happened, I was like, you know what? I should have seen it coming. Like, it makes sense, you know?
Yeah, I was very much the same. It also, yeah, I should have seen it coming. But
Yeah, because like I would say it's one of BioWare's better twists because it kind of recontextualizes the entire mentor relationship instead of just going, hey, surprise villain. Because, Lee was grooming a weapon and not raising a student. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, back into the story. With Sunhai dead, the water dragon regains enough strength to contact the spirit monk in the underworld, and she guides them back to life at Dirge. And then you have to make a final choice. So the spirit monk finds the water dragon's body beneath the palace, and they must choose to either destroy the body and fully free her spirit, or taint and suppress it to control the power. So what did you do? Well, you said you were a goody two shoes, so yeah.
Yeah, I did the open palm ending.
So weakening the dragon weakens Sun Li, and then the spirit monk defeats him in the final confrontation.
Yep.
And then that leads to the endings, which if you were a goody two shoes, you destroy the water dragon's body, you kill Sun Li, the cycle of death and rebirth is restored, and the empire is freed from tyranny. The neutral / power ending, you taint the water dragon's body, you kill Sun Li, and the spirit monks becomes the new god emperor. It's basically, from what I understand, I can handle absolute power better than the last guy ending, basically. And then the evil ending is you agree with Sun Li's philosophy, allow him to kill the spirit monk, and Sun Li becomes the new immortal ruler, and the empire becomes orderly, prosperous, and brutally authoritarian.
Yeah, that's fucking wild. So,
and basically from what I understood from the video I watched, and I wrote this down, is like it's basically the game is just asking, like, can a perfect ruler exist without becoming a monster?
Yeah. Yep. Very much on the money there. Because there's like a few little things, like I said before, the dam, and you get the choice to either corrupt it or like navigate trading for the town. There's a spirit fox that you can either destroy or help. That's like a forest spirit, and like the counterpart to that is the toad, which like it's all got significance in Chinese mythology, which I'm not all over. And that's where I said you can either help the fox for the open palm. You can either kill the fox, which means you have to fight a big ass elephant, which is hard from what I've seen, for the closed fist, or you can kill them both, which kind of leads you down that path for Lee becoming the ultimate.
Yeah. But overall, like, I mean, the story's there. I mean, it was a really good story. And then as we were saying with the twist, like it was one that took you by surprise. But if you just sat on it for any length of time, you're just like, you know what, it makes sense. It's a logical twist, like.
Yep. And you can even influence your or two of your companions, the two main romances. Which is like I really put, like, it's very Spider-Man, because you've got Dawnstar, who's like your Mary Jane type character, your childhood friend, you've known them for years, they become the romance option. Or there's Silk Fox, who is like your Black Cat, who ends up being one of the princesses of the semi-main antagonist, his daughter. So they're actually cousins, Dawnstar and Silk Fox, but she's very much the Black Cat. She's the person that dresses up all sexy like and stops corruption and is a thief. But it's really cool to see that your the way that you behave in the game actually affects them, whereas we kind of saw the opposite in KOTOR, where like you can either side, you've got your dark side companions, and I'm trying to remember. I don't want to spoil anything either though, but you've got your obvious dark side companions there, and you've also got your obvious light side, and I don't think you can influence them too much in KOTOR 1 into changing their alignment. I know KOTOR 2 has a character that you can either change or you can change to dark side.
Yeah, because I know that in 2 there's Jolie Bendo, and he's just a straight good guy. And if I'm remembering this correctly, because it's been a decade since I played it, if you do too much dark side stuff, he'll leave the party. Which I don't know why he didn't leave my party, because, well, no, I was a good guy. I was just using, Sith lightning for everything.
Is that 2? Definitely 2? Because you've got the Sith assassin, who starts off bad, but you can turn her good. And you've also got Handmaid that you can turn dark, or she leaves.
It might be. Yeah. Jolie Bendo was in the first game, because you're. This one's talking about HK-47, the Starforge, and Darth Malak. So yeah, I'm wrong in my character. So I remember even less about KOTOR 2 than I thought.
Okay, yeah. You cut out for a bit there, but
yeah, I think my Discord reset or something. I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah, it's all good. Cool. Yeah. Anything else you wanted to put toward the plot?
No, I mean, that was about it. I feel like the twist was, like I said, pretty good. I feel like the ending was pretty good, tied up in a nice, neat little bow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess there could be a sequel if they wanted to, but they haven't done it in 2020, so 20 something years.
Considering they class the Master Li becomes the Overlord as like the true ending, which I found very interesting. I don't think a sequel would benefit it.
No, probably not.
But yeah, that is Jade Empire. Like we said, we talked about all our socials at the end of the main episode. But thank you for sticking around. Bit of a shorter one, but that's okay. Better sometimes that's better than our 4-hour long episodes like we've been reaching occasionally.
Looking at you, Baldur's Gate 3.
But definitely, yeah. Well, what was that? 12 hours because it was 3 main eps.
Yeah.
But definitely join us next time for Drakengard 2 to hear. Fenris and I were both able to play that one, so we'll be able to talk about that one more comprehensively.
See, and that's something I didn't even think about, was trying to emulate it. This game, Jade Empire.
Original Xbox is a bit, it's a bit how you going. Original Xbox. I haven't had much success with it. But who knows? You're the one with the powerful PC. Yeah,
I didn't know that, a computer could be too strong to do anything. But
yeah, if we ever play some really, really old games, I think we're going to run into some
problems. Probably.
But that's for another time. Thank you for joining us once again, guys. I'm
Fenris.
And happy gaming.